Hey guys, we are going to go over the Big 20 practice, okay? So you completed this on the Google Classroom, which looked like this. I'm printed out a copy, so I'm going to go over it problem by problem with you. In this first recording, it's going to be problems A through J, okay? All right, so let's look at the first one. This one I noticed right away is an order of operations. So I have in parentheses 28 minus the quotient of 4 divided by 2 tripled. Okay, so of course I always write out my GEMDAS and I follow those steps. So do I have any groupings? Yes. Remember, every grouping has another GEMDAS in it, so you ask yourself again once you get into your grouping, do I have any groupings? Yes, I have a smaller grouping. So I have 4 divided by 2, or innermost grouping, sorry, which is 2, and that's going to be subtracted from 28, and then that will be tripled. Okay, so 28, the difference of 28 and 2 is 26 times 3, which will give me 78. So my final answer is 78 for letter A. For letter B, it is also an order of operations, so I'm going to use that same GEMDAS. And I have 36 plus the product of 12 and 4. Not product, but quotient of 12 and 4. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to follow my order of operations. I have no groupings, I have no exponents, but do I have multiplication or division? Yes, I do. I have division, so I'm going to solve that first. And now I'm going to add that to 36, and that gives me a sum of 39. So my final answer for letter B is 39. All right, letter C, this is powers of 10. So right away I see that I have 67 times 10 to the power of 3. Well, 10 to the power of 3 is the same as 10 times 10 times 10. So in thinking of that, that's like 100 times 10, which equals 1,000. So this is exactly the same as 67 times 1,000. So 67 times 1,000 equals 67,000. The shortcut is paying attention to how many exponents or how many zeros you would annex behind this number. So this tells me that I would have 3, so then I would just annex 3 zeros behind 67. When you input this into the Big 20, you need to make sure that you put your comma to get that answer correct. Now we did add the other answer in to help some students pick up those points, but please remember, always separate your 3 digits by a comma when they do not have a decimal or they're not behind the decimal point. All right, so next one, you have 410 times 1/10. Okay, there was a 0 here. Notice I didn't write it at first. You don't really need that 0. So if you think about it, this is the same as 410 times 1. And then I need to consider my decimal place. I have 1 decimal place, so I'm going to slide my decimal in 1 time. So that goes right behind the 1, which is 41. It's a whole number. You could have either written 41, or you could have written 41 and 0/10 to get that answer correct. All right. Letter E. We have a simple multiplication problem, 325 times 18. I'm going to solve this using the traditional algorithm. So 8 times 5 is 40, 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 makes 20. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 2 more is 26. Annex is 0. If you forget that step, your algorithm will be incorrect. And then multiply by 1. 5 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2, and then 3 times 1 is 3. Add everything up, and that gives me 5,850 And remember, every 3 numbers that is not behind a decimal gets a comma, so I'm going to write it as 5,850. All right, next one. I have 4,320 divided by 18. Now this is a fraction problem, but it's a fraction as division. So if I do have a remainder, I am going to write this as a mixed number. Okay. All right, so I like to do 2, 0 whenever I have a big number like this. I like to do my brain dump over to the side. So I'm thinking about this as 18 times 1, which is 18, again, times 10, 180, times 100 would be 1,800, okay? Times 2 is doubled, so that would be times 2 is 16, so that would be 36, and then times 20 would be 360, and then times 200 would be 3,600, okay? And then I'm going to continue my brain dump thinking about 18 times 5. I'm going to bring that over to this side. 18 times 5, which would be 90. So times 50 would be 900. And I'm going to stop there because times 500 would give me 9,000, and that's too big for that number. Okay, so now that I've done my little brain dump, I can go ahead and solve this problem. So I'm looking for the largest number that I can divide by, and that would be 200. Because 18 times 200 gives me 3,600. So now I subtract. That's a 3. And then 7. So that leaves me with 720. So the next largest number that I could use, I can't use 900, but I can use 20. 20 gives me 360. So I subtract. And that gives me another 360. So this one is going to work out perfectly. Subtract, that leaves me with 0, and now all I have to do is add my partial quotients. So 200 plus 20 plus 20 gives me 240. So the answer for letter F is 240 is my final answer that I would put in or type in. All right, number 9. Number 9 is decimals, or not number 9, but letter G. So I have 37 and 12 hundredths plus 8 and 9 tenths. Now, if you notice, when I lined up my decimals, I have a space here. So I always annex a 0, whether I'm adding or subtracting. Doesn't matter. All right, so 2 plus 0 is 2. 9 plus 1 makes 10. Bring my decimal down, carry my 1. 8 and 7 is 15 plus 1 is 16. Carry 1, and that makes 4. So my final answer for letter G is 46 and 2 hundredths. Okay, and yes, your place matters. Make sure you have that 0 in its correct place. Letter H. I have 7 and 2 tenths, and I'm going to take the difference of 6 and 13 hundredths. Okay, so again, I'll line up my decimals. And I notice that I do have a place that I need to annex a 0. This place is extremely important because if I don't use that 0, I'm going to get it wrong, and I'm going to assume that this is 3 here. As you can see, I have to regroup, so that regrouping is going to change what this answer would be. So 3 from 10 is 7. 1 from 1 is 0. Bring down my decimal, sorry about that, and then 1. So my final answer is 1 and 7 hundredths. All right, next one, we have division. All right, so for letter I have 4 and 32 hundredths divided by 1 and 6 tenths. Well, before I can divide, I have to make these equivalent and get rid of that decimal point because I cannot divide. So this is my cowboy. My cowboy leads the horse. My cowboy goes in the house. That horse goes out. So now that I've figured out which one I need to get rid of, I can see I only need to move this one time. So because I only need to move this decimal one time, I have to do the same thing over here. So in essence, I'm just going to multiply both sides by 10. So in doing that, that moves the decimal one place here and one place here. Now, if you were wondering why I was trying to figure out which one needed to be on the outside, it's because this one has 2 decimal places. So if I thought that I needed to move this 2 times and then I moved this 2 times, I would have gotten an equivalent answer. No, I wouldn't have, because I only needed to move this 1 time. So moving it 1 time makes all the difference in the world, okay? So I'm going to put my 4, my 3, and my 2 inside of a box. Since I'm working with decimals, I cannot use partial product or partial quotient. All right, and so now I'm going to use box method. Now that I've moved my decimal 1 place, my new number is 43 2/10 here. So the decimal is going to go there. This number became 16. So my 16 goes out. When I'm working with this, I'm not going to do a brain dump because my answers have to be exact. It's not like partial quotient where I can add up my quotients and get the correct answer. I have to be exact. So 16 can go into 4 0 times. 0 times 16 is 0. Subtract, and that leaves me with 4, and I slide that 4 over. Now this number becomes 43. 16 can go into 43. I'm going to say 2 times because when I double 16, that gives me 32, and tripling 16 would be too big. So I subtract, that gives me 1, that gives me 1. Now I'm just going to bring my 2 1s over to the next box. And now I have to think, because I have to be exact, 16 times what's going to give me 112? Well, I know if I multiply 16 times 5, it's going to be less than 90 or less than 100. So I'm going to go more than 5. I'm going to think 16 times 7, because that's 2 away from 5. So 6 times 7 is 42, carry 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 makes 11. So that's exactly 112. All right, so my final answer is 2 7/10. All right, letter J, this is the last one for this video. All right, so what I did is I'm going to use the traditional algorithm again because I have a 4-digit number. So whenever I have a 4-digit number times a 2-digit number, I just want to keep my strategy as simple as possible. All right, so I have 5 times 4, which is 20. I'm going to carry 2. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. So I drop the 2 and carry the 4. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 4 is 39. Carry my 3 here. And then 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. I'm going to remember to annex my 0. Just a quick note before we keep going. Notice that I did not stack my decimals. I do not line up decimals when I multiply decimals. I only line up my decimals when I am adding and subtracting, and then I also want to make sure my decimal's in place when I divide. When I multiply, I'm not worried about where the decimal is until I'm finished multiplying, okay? All right, so now that I've annexed my 0, I'm going to go ahead and multiply using this 3. So 3 times 4 is 12, carry 1. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25, so I carry 2. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 2 is 23. And then 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Okay, so now I'm just going to add everything up. That's 0, that's 4, that's 14, that is 13, 12, and then 1, that's 6. Okay, so now all I do is I go back in and I look at my decimal place. Okay, so how many decimal places do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, let me move my finger so you can see that. I have 3 decimal places because I have 2 here and 1 here. So now I'm just going to slide 1, 2, 3. There's where the decimal goes. It becomes 62 and 44 hundredths, or 62 and 440 thousandths. Either answer is correct, okay? All right, so that is all for this video. We are going to pick up on the next video for the next 10 problems of the Big 20.